Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, trying to get that off my screen. Thank you so much as well for giving us this opportunity to share this information that we will share with you today. Now, we've slightly changed things a tiny bit, only because after having relooked at the way we've laid out the sessions, I think it's wiser for us to put these three together. So today's session 3, we're going to be covering income, expenditure, and budgeting. And we're still telling our money where to go. I think one of the things that many of us were not taught is how to deal with money. So it comes in, and as quickly as it comes in, it leaves, because we don't really quite understand how to teach it where to go. So today, going through the sessions that Sam will take you through, and I will chip in, wherever it's necessary or useful, just to have an understanding of what our income is. Most of us will know, but we will still go through that. Understand expenditure and the different types of expenditure we might have. And most importantly, how to make the most out of the money that actually comes into our pockets, whether that might be through income, through benefits, whatever. But really and truly just telling our money where to go. So I'm going to hand you over to Sam. I'm very sure he will you will learn something today from him. He will teach some really good insights. Some things you might know already, some things might be new. So I hope you've come ready with an open mind. Please feel free to pop your questions in the chat if you're not able to speak, or to unmute and jump in if you feel like we're going too quickly, or there's some things you'd like a bit more information about. So over to you, Sam. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, thank you so much for this session 3. Good to have you all back. I'm going to share my slide and we'll get started on. And I want to thank that name woman for putting something like this together, because to be honest with you, I wish more organizations would cover subjects like this and organize more things like this for people. So it's good to have the opportunity to be able to share this information with you. Sorry, apologies. It's not moving the way I want it to move. I'm going to stop sharing. Just bear with me 1 second. Something's gone wrong. Let me go back to the beginning. I apologize. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm so glad that name woman, they put this session together for the financial education. So session 3, we're going to be looking at income, expenditure, and budgeting. And like Gator said, it's about telling your money where to go. But just like I started last week, I want to remind you that every decision we make is really down to us. And it's about your mindset. It says on here, I shared it last week. I'm going to share it again. Your mind is a magnet. If you think of blessings, you attract blessings. And if you think of problems, you attract problems. Always cultivate good thoughts. Always remain positive and optimistic. And I think for a lot of us, it all starts there. It starts with understanding our mindset. Do you have a forward-thinking mindset? Do you have a positive mindset? So that's really where I like to start my conversation, getting you into the right mood for what we're going to be discussing. So today we're looking at incomes, we're looking at expenditure, we're looking at budgeting. But I want to cover the first thing I want to cover really is the 5 main financial concerns that people have. Now, there may be more of this, but I'm just going to cover 5 main ones as far as I've seen over the many years of working. The first one is debt. More going out than coming in, and people want to get a handle on their finances. That's the first one. The second one is retirement. People feel like they aren't getting any younger. They want to start putting some money aside so they can retire with dignity. I'm not sure if you know about this stat, but out of 100 people reaching the age of retirement, only about 5 can comfortably retire. Everybody else is relying on the government, relying on family and friends. And, a lot of people are concerned about what would happen to them when they get to the age of 65 or 66 or 67, whatever it is, retirement age is right now. We know it's going up. It's going up to 68, I believe. And I think they're actually talking about going up to 70 already. So we know, think about what you're doing now. Can you be doing the same thing at 70? Legacy funds, that's another one. People want to put something aside for their younger children, maybe for university savings, or even just to give them a head start in later life. For again, we have children, we want to get them going for the future. And then life insurance, having a policy in force to replace the potential loss of income to the family. If you're a couple or if you're contributing to the household right now, you want to know that if anything were to happen to you, that your family is looked after. It's like a love letter. And we're going to be talking about that. I think it's either next week or the week after. And finally, income. Could you do with an extra £2,000 a month on a part-time basis or a career change? So those are the concerns that a lot of people have. Now, which of these financial concerns are most important to you? As some of you will know, I like to have interactions with people. So if you want to put it in the chat box, which one of these 5 actually concerns you the most? Put it in the chat box. We can maybe have a discussion about that later on. But today we're talking about income. And our purpose as a company is to help people achieve financial independence. Now, how would you define financial independence? Financial independence occurs the moment a person's passive income exceeds their living expenses. So let me repeat that. When you say you're financially independent, let me just summarize it. It basically means you've got more money coming in than your expenses, like a passive income. So you're making money while you sleep, and the more money, that money is more than your living expenses. Okay. Everybody wants financial independence. I mean, if you would like financial independence, let me see you put a 1 in the chat box. I'm sure, let me see you put a 1 in the chat box if you're interested in being financially independent. A lot of people would like to do that. So what is passive income? Passive income is all the money a person earns without working. Okay, so money you earn without working. And then the question now is, how much money do most people make when they are not working? How much money do people make when they are not working? I'm sure that would be a 0, right? Would you agree that's a 0? A lot of people are not making money unless they are working. And that is what you call an active income. An active income is all the money a person earns while working. So we're talking about income. There's 2 types of income, a passive income and an active income. Okay, so which type of income would you prefer? Passive or active? Let me see your P or an A in the chat box. Would you prefer a passive income or an active income? I'm sure majority of people would like to do a passive income. Thank you, Emmy. Okay, we all want, or a lot of people will prefer the passive income. Thank you. Thank you for those people putting stuff in the chat box. Thank you, Android. So how do you create a passive income for yourself? Okay, do you know how to create a passive income for yourself? And we're going to be talking a little bit about that because there's 2 types of primary sources of passive income. The first one is money working for you, and the second one is a business working for you. Those are the 2 primary sources of getting a passive income. Now, how is the average person doing at developing a passive income? Not very well. Okay, majority of people are not developing a passive income. So why is that? There are lots of different reasons. Now, if this was a different presentation, I would have stopped the slide and asked for some feedback, asked for some conversation with people. We're recording it, so I'm not sure if we want to do that. I won't do that right now. But why are people not having access or having a passive income? Okay, so we're going to discuss that now. So the two primary ways to build passive income is investment. So when I said about money working for you, is you having, let's say if you had £1 million in an investment account, and that £1 million is generating £60,000 interest every year. So every year you get £60,000 from that £1 million invested. That's passive. I'm sure most of us on this call would live or could live on 60 grand a year. Okay, so that's you having a passive income. Or you could own a business and the business works whether you're there or not. Okay, so those are the two primary ways to build passive income. Without either of those two, what would a person continue to do? What they continue to do basically is they continue to work. Warren Buffett, for those of you who might know about investment and one of the wealthiest men in the world, he says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And that's generally what happens. A lot of us, if we cannot generate a passive income, guess how long most people are going to work for? We're going to be working forever. Okay? You would want to avoid that, wouldn't you? And there are different ways of doing this. You know, I just saw a comment in there about worrying and fear, and that's fine. I understand that. And again, it's being able to do your research and finding out what you need to do. So do you know what you need to do? There are different things that you can do. The first thing for me, though, is identifying your goals. What do you want? Where do you want to go? It could be a dream home. It could be a dream car, education, hobbies, travel, families, charities. The question to ask yourself is, how much would it take in an annual income for you to achieve your goals and dreams? So let's say somebody wants to buy a house. The house is 300K, £300,000. You need £30,000, at least 10% deposit. So now you know you need £30,000 to deposit for that house. Now you have your goal. You need 30K. When do you want that by? You want it by 2025. Okay. What do you need to start doing now to be able to achieve that? It's the same thing you do when you're trying to sort out getting a passive income. What are you good at? What do you want for the future? And how are you going to get there? How are you going to make that happen? Because personally, and for me, we're taught different things in school. Do well in school, go to university, get a great job, work for a company, you'll have your dream life. The question is, how is that working for most people? When you think out of 100 people, only 5 are financially okay at retirement. It's not working for majority of people. What you are doing by being on this call, by being here, is that you're thinking of the future and you want to do something different. This is what the dream life looks like right now. You're born, you spend 20 years in school, you work for the next 40 to 50 years, and then you retire on 30 to 50% of your income for the next 10 to 15 years, and then you die. That's generally what's happening to most people right now. The question is, how is that working out for most people? And people don't ask the question, if I take your advice and work your plan, what is the probability of success? I'm sure a lot of us are asking ourselves that question. What are we doing wrong? How can we do different? We're working many, many hours, but we're not really seeing where the future is. We're not seeing where we're going. And it all comes down to your income. And we will be talking about that some more. But why are so many people failing when it comes to their finances? It's because we conform. Okay? We conform, we follow what we've been told. Okay? We've been told, we've been following people who are not making it financially themselves. and we're indoctrinated to becoming an employee for a lot of us. And um, again, when you look at how is that working out for most people, for a lot of people, it's not working out. Now, for some, it is. That's great. And I will never knock being an employee. But I just believe there are other ways to do things differently. And it brings me to this book here called The Cash Flow Quadrant. The book was written by a guy called Robert Kiyosaki. He also wrote a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know if anybody else has heard of that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you've heard of it, let me see you just put in the chat box that you've heard of it. But in his book, The Cash Flow Quadrant, he says there's 4 ways to earn an income. There's 4 legal ways to earn an income. Thank you, Amy. I see you've heard of it, and Android as well. Fantastic. 4 ways to earn an income. The first way is as an employee. As an employee, you have a job. Your income is based on your position, not the person. So let's say, unfortunately, you've got a job right now. You pass away unexpectedly next week. Okay, that's life. All right. Your job, somebody else will be in that job by the end of maybe a month. Okay, so your income is based on your position, not you as a person. Now, let's say you get upset and you're like, I'm going to go and start my own business. So for me, I actually used to be a driving instructor. So now you become self-employed. As a self-employed, you now own a job. It could be like me, driving instructor, whereby if I didn't have a student in the car teaching them how to drive, I wasn't making money. Okay, so you leave your job, you go and start and become self-employed, you're still basically owning a job, because if you're not working, you're not earning, but at least you've got some freedom. The third way is as a business owner. A business owner owns a system and they have others working for them. For example, think about McDonald's, think Specsavers, think Subway, any of those franchises. You can buy this franchise and you have people working in there for you. There's unlimited income potential, and you're making money, you're giving people employment. That's a business owner. And the final one is as an investor. As an investor, you have money working for you. It's what I mentioned earlier. You've got £1 million in a retirement fund or an investment account, and you're just living off the interest. You enjoy complete freedom, and you can achieve your goals and dreams. Let me ask you on this call, which 2 ways appeal to you the most? Would you say the left side or the right side? So let me see you put an L or an R in the chat box. Which one appeals to you the most? Would you like to do the left one, which is the employee self-employed, or the right one? Which one do you want? Right. Okay, fantastic. And to be honest with you, everybody I talk to wants to be on the right hand side. The question now is, where are most people? Most people, I'm sure you would agree with me, are on the left side. Most people. So really, what stops people from making that transition from the left to the right? There are lots of different reasons. There's lots of things that stops people from moving. There's 5 main reasons that we've come up with. That there's more, but there's 5 main ones. The first one is capital. They say, I can't move from left to right because I need money. If I'm going to open a restaurant, I need pots, I need pans, I need a kitchen, I need a license, I need people to be in the kitchen, I need waiters. It's a few quid. It's not cheap. Okay. The other thing people say is, I don't have time. I'm working my job. I'm doing 60 hours a week. I'm doing 70 hours a week. I don't have time. Some people say, I don't have the knowledge. We go to school, they don't teach us how to start a business. It's not easy starting a business. Too risky. Somebody said that already in the chat box earlier about too risky, not enough knowledge. And then failure. We're afraid of failing. Those are some of the reasons why people do not go into business for themselves. And maybe I might open it up later. If people have more other reasons, please feel free to put it in the chat box. I'm always open to to learning more and learning from everybody else. But those are some of the reasons why people do not go into business for themselves. Now, I mentioned this earlier. This is the plan that most people are on right now. This is the alternative plan where you still go to uni, but you find a business that you can do. And then that business, you can generate a passive income and enjoy freedom. Which one do you prefer? Okay, I'm sure most people will probably say B. And when I'm talking about a business, I always say to people, what skills do you have? What talent do you have that maybe, I look at Emmy. Emmy is really good at bringing people together. She's really good at sewing into people's lives. Is there a way she could make an income from that? Maybe you're a good cook. Is there a way you could earn an income from that? Maybe you plait hair. Maybe it doesn't, whatever skills you have, some of those skills can actually help you to generate an income or a business that you could build on the side. So those are just some of the things I wanted to mention um, when it comes to income, passive income, active income. A lot of us are on active income. An idea would be to start thinking of something you can do on a passive income where you can generate income while you sleep. And then you never know. It's possible, but it takes action. Not everybody will do it, but for those who actually step forward and bravely go for it, the potentials are massive. And I always say, when you look on the Times rich list, every year they come out with a rich list on I think the top 100 earners in the UK. Every single year, I think in January it comes out. And what you find is on that top 100 list, hardly any of them are employees. Majority of them are earning a passive income. Majority of them own businesses. Okay, so success leaves clues. Now, how do people manage their money? Do you want to know? They don't. A lot of people do not understand how to manage their money. And that's why we're going to talk about budgeting now. Okay, budgeting talks about designing a plan that fits you. I always talk to people and I ask them, how's your budgeting? Are you budgeting? How much money do you have left at the end of the month? A lot of people do not know how much they've got left. They don't know how much they're starting with. Sometimes I sit down with people and I look at their finances and they've got more going out than is coming in. Okay, I saw somebody recently and their net income, their disposable income was minus £700. Basically, when they spent everything that was going out every month, their salary, they still had they had minus seven, they were living in the overdraft. And for me, it comes down to having a budget. Okay. Now, for those people who've never had a budget, why do you budget? You talk about savings, the money you spend, and your expenses. What do you keep? What do you spend? What kind of expenses do you have? And this is what a budget is. It's a monthly written plan that helps you make the most of what you have. Monthly written plan, monthly. Okay. It helps you. Okay, we talk about living within your means. Basically, you start off spending less than or equal to your monthly income. So you're earning £2,000 a month. You're not spending more than £2,000 a month. You live below your means. This is the foundation of good money management. So the question to you on the call right now, and those watching the recording, how much is coming in for you every month? And how much are you spending every month? What is left over? Do you know what's going to happen next month in March? Do you already have a plan in place for what's going to happen in March? Okay, because a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. For a lot of us, we get paid, and we get paid on the 1st, and by the 14th, we're thinking, oh, I'm skinned. I need to go into the overdraft. I mean, the 15th is sometimes even optimistic. By the 4th or 5th, when all the direct debits go out, we're already skinned. So what a budget does is it shows you, it tells you where your money is going instead of it going all over the place. All right. A budget makes it possible to track your cash flow, makes it possible, it gives you clarity on where your finances are, and it identifies what disposable income you have left. So when you've got disposable income, you then know, okay, this is what I can play with. This is what I can use for whatever else, maybe to achieve your goals, maybe to put aside to start that business. If you say you want to start a business, how much do you need to start that business? For a lot of us, we have a job, and I'm never, ever going to knock a job. Okay. A job is there. It provides stability. It gives you, the money is coming in every month. But that job could also help you to start a business where okay, I'm going to start this business. I need £500 to start this business. From this job I'm working, I'm earning £5,000 a month or £2,000 a month. I'm going to put £50 aside every month. That's part of what a budget does for you. It helps you identify what you need to put aside and to track where your money is going. Okay, so where's my slide not moving? Okay. You've got to be intentional. Now, I mentioned this last week. I love the word intentional because it means you've got to be deliberate. You've got to be purposeful. You've got to intend to do it. If you want to be financially independent, if you want to be financially free, do not give up what you want most for what you want now. What that basically means is look into the future. Okay, what you want in the future is you want freedom. That freedom is a financial freedom. Okay, don't spend now and then regret the future. You know where you're going to, so you've got to be deliberate about how you control your money right now, because what you do right now will make someday. What you do right now will make your future brighter. So today is the day to start. Make some day today. Today is when you're going to start budgeting. Today, I'm going to give you a link. I'm going to put it in the chat box at the end. I'm going to give you a link for you to go into, and through that link, you can actually start budgeting. You can put your information in. It's directly to you, doesn't go anywhere. I've got a spreadsheet I can share with you also that I can email to you if you send me your email address. And there's so many things out there. There's apps that you can use, but you need to decide that today is the day you're going to start budgeting. Today is the day you're going to make something different. All right. Now, this is Jim Rohn. He's one of my favorite motivational speakers and author. He says, you can't change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. For me, it's all about making that decision right now. You know where you're going. You're not going to get there straight away. But it's like they say if you're on a plane or even in a ship, if it just changes one direction away from its current place, it's going to go to a completely opposite way. And it's exactly the same thing. Just change your you can change your direction now. You can start it right now and start doing it. And the secret, to Mark Twain, he says the secret to getting ahead is getting started. I hope I'm making it clear that starting is the way forward. You've got to start. You've got to get going and make it working for you. So how do you budget? There's different ways you can budget. It's assessing your financial resources, determine your expenses, set goals. You need to create a plan. So for us to budget, basically, you need to know how much spendable cash do you have? This is your take home. Okay, this is your take home net income. So you get paid £2,000 a month. The taxman, let's say, takes 500. Okay, so you've got 1,500 left. Taxman, NI, your maybe something else that comes out with work. Let's just say you get paid 2K, you keep 1,500. That's how much you take home for yourself. Okay. Just muting somebody there. I've done it. So your net income is how much you have to spend to take home. Now, what you need to start thinking about is what kind of fixed expenses do you have? So there's two types of expenses. There's the fixed expenses, there's the variable expenses. Your fixed expenses, these are monthly expenses that stay the same every month. Your rent or your mortgage, your utilities, internet, gas, TV, electric, the student loans, the car payments. These are things like if you do not pay these things, they could take you to court. If you do not pay these things, they could cut off your electric or your gas or your water. They could take your house. All right. Those are your fixed expenses. Those ones you cannot mess with. You've got to get them paid. All right. So fixed expenses. But then the other things you've got is you've got your variable expenses. So we're looking at some shopping, personal care, entertainment, car repairs, pet expenses, credit card payments. Those ones are variable expenses. You know, personal care, entertainment. Do you really need to have Amazon Premium, Netflix, Disney? Do you really need to have all three of them? Can you just settle for one and get rid of the others and stop paying for them? You know, little things like that that you can vary. This is how you create your budget. This is how you look at what you're spending and what you're not spending. You could simply just write it down on a piece of paper and go through your bank statement from last month. Go through your bank statement over the last 3 months and make a note of the things that are coming out on a monthly basis. I sit down with people sometimes, right? And we're going through their finances and there's a payment and they've realized that they've been paying for their gym membership for the last 2, 3 years. They've not been to the gym in 2, 3 years. They paid for it in January 2021. They went up until February or March. They've not been since then, but they're still paying for it every single month. Even if it was £20, that's still £20 every month for 3 years that you're not using anything for. So when was the last time you went through your bank statement and you could identify everything that was coming out? I've seen so many people where they've just clicked on a button in something they were doing, and they didn't realize that approved them to be for them to be taking £5 out every month. And before you know it, you're just paying that money out without even realizing it. So let me encourage you, sit down, make a note of these things, and go through your statement over the last 3 months and see what's coming out and put them into these two categories: fixed income or fixed expenses and variable expenses. All right. Now, when you're looking at your budget, some of the things you need to audit your spending. What are you spending your money on? You know, for me, I used to love the time when we used to go shopping with the children. It has not happened in a very, very long time. But you notice that they always put those sweets and those tiny things by the till. So the sweets are by the till. And what do children do? Oh, chocolate! They put it on the trolley. Now, hey, my wife and I, we were ninjas at those things because we used to just take them off straight away. But I've been to shops and I've seen children do that with their parents. They'll take 1, 2, 3 different things, they'll put it on the trolley, and the parents just let it go through. Now, it was that part of their budget when they came to the shop? Probably wasn't. So you need to audit your spending. What are you spending your money on? especially these days when it's easy to just use that card. What's the code now? When you just swipe. Yes, contactless. Okay. Even now, I went to London the other day. All I had to use my contactless to go through the tubes. It's so easy to use those things. We do not know how many, you'd be surprised how many things you spent money on without really being aware. That's why you need to go through your statements. Now, when you've audited your spending, create a zero-based budget. Basically, you're starting from zero and you're looking at what is coming in and what's going out, and you're comparing the variable and the fixed expenses. Okay, get that going. Like I said, there's a spreadsheet you can have, I can send to you, but there's also a website you can go to that I can share with you, and you can get that information from there. There's different ways you can cut costs. You know, it says, beware of little leaks. A small leak will sink a great ship. And for me, this is so true. You know, I've been to houses where, I mean, in the past, well, this happened a few years ago now, but this family, they had Sky box and they also had a Virgin box. Okay. And there was no food in the fridge. And I'm thinking, why? Why do you need both boxes? Oh, there's a channel here that we don't get here, but you don't have the money to do it. Where else can you cut? Where else can you cut cost? I mean, for me, I sit down with families, and you know, one of the biggest things I found when I sit down with families, I say, how much are you spending on food? And some people will say £500, £700. Okay. Now, how much do you throw away at the end of the month? Do you really need to buy all those things? Okay. Do you need to go to that particular shop? When they say buy two, get a third one free, do you need that third one? Or it's going to end up in the bin? Can you just do with the one? What other ways can you cut cost? I mean, something as simple as spending half an hour in the shower. You're using water, you're using electric. Okay, something as simple as that. Could that help you cut your cost? I can't think of any other things, but you know, if you can think of other things that you can cut your costs, please put it in the chat box. Gilda, if you can think of anything, please put it in there. Anybody else, if there's any other ways you can think of cutting cost, put it in the chat box. Always happy to learn more or maybe even share knowledge with people. Yeah, yellow sticker shopping. You might need to break that down. Uh, but there are lots of different ways that you can cut costs. You know, if you want to know, look in the chat box. There are things going in there for you. Number 4, your food bill. Okay. Do you have a shopping list? You know, for me, I think this is something that we've been doing a lot more over the last few years, where we've gone in with the shop, and Gilda would often say, look, that's on my list, that's on my list. When she picks something up and I look at her, she'll be like, look, it's on my list. And she'll be pointing it out to me. And for me, it's just so good because you have a list of what you're going to buy. You're not going there and just picking up random things, because those random things is the little things that affects your finances and it burns a hole in your wallet. Okay. How often do you go to the shop? Can you buy in bulk? If you eat a lot of pasta, can you buy a massive container of pasta? Can you buy tin tomatoes in 12? You know, because the more you go to the shop, the more you're going to pick up that you don't actually need. Do you plan your meals? Okay. I mean, for me, I think, well, a couple of days ago, Gilda cooked a pot of stew. You know, again, that's last about 2 days, 3 days. Nothing wrong with that. You can eat it with all sorts of different things, rice, poundo, eba, all sorts of things. You can the same stew, you can eat it with lots of different things. I'm just using different examples, and for you to know that this is something that we do in our house. So I'm not just saying it for you to do, is ways of things that you can do that can help you reduce how much money is going out and to help you manage your finances. Okay, so reduce. Yes, Emmy, go for it. What did you want to say? Emmy, did
My
you
hand
put your
is up
hand up?
because I wanted to talk after this point. I just wanted to give a shout out to Lates Community Foundation for providing us with the funding to complete this project. That's all.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you to our funders. You know, again, we need this kind of information, and they're doing us a good service by providing this session that we're able to do here. And I hope you're all getting some value from this stuff here. Thank you, Emmy. Meal cards. You know, I know. You know, sometimes this might seem like, oh, do I really need to do this? But if you have a plan in place, and you can put something like this in place, you don't even need to think about it anymore. You can go and pick up what you want in the shop. You can buy those specific things. And, you know, I'm not saying eat spaghetti bolognese every Monday for the next 3 months or for the next 6 months. But, you know, do it now. And maybe if you need it in 3 months' time, the card is there already. And again, it's something that, you know, your children, I remember my Joel and even my other son, this is something that we used to follow. We used to have cards and you can cook from them. I know now you've got YouTube, so you can just follow cooking on YouTube, which I know I've done once or twice in the past. But these are some things that you can do to help you manage your money. Okay, have a spending journal. All right. A spending journal basically is how much do you spend? And it says on there, you can only manage what you can measure. Do you know every time you spend a penny, write it down? You know, some people go to Starbucks. I think Cafe Nero, I think is about, I don't know, I think get £4.50. I think it is for a cup of coffee these days. I know we had I usually get free vouchers. I usually get free vouchers from Cafe Nero on a weekly basis. And I sent one to Gilda last week and said, oh, you're in town, you can
You
use this
set me up.
voucher. So Gilda went to Cafe Nero to go and use this voucher, and she'd ordered. And then what you do is you order and then you show them the voucher and then they scan it and it's free. Anyway, she'd ordered and then when she presented the voucher wasn't working because it expired that same day. So she had to pay, how much did you pay? £4.50 or something?
£4.55 or something
Yeah, four
ridiculous
fifty
for
five.
one cup of hot chocolate.
Yes, £4.55 for a cup of hot chocolate. Now, how many of that do people use or have on a weekly basis? They do it, they don't even write it down anymore. What this is basically talking about is writing it down, knowing what you're spending your money on. So that when you can see it on a piece of paper, you'll be surprised when you add it up and you find yourself spending 40, £50 a week on things that you don't really, really need. Okay, so that's just talking about the spending journal and then being able to see everything going out on a monthly basis. So do you have like a calendar, all your direct debits, what's coming out every month? You know, a lot of people pay fees for missing a payment. They pay fees for not catching up on something. Do you have a calendar where you know that, okay, gas is coming out on the 2nd, electric is coming out on the 4th, life insurance is coming out on the 7th? So you can see all those things at a glance, but also having your budget on the side. So you can see your budget, you can see this picture, and you know what's coming in, what's going out, you know what you're spending your money on. That's basically how to create a budget. Those are the kind of things that you can do. It's really important that we build a financial wall around our families so that nothing can get through. We want to be able to protect our families. We want to be able to protect our children. You can see those elephants protecting their baby there. And really, that's where our finances needs to be. It needs to be solid. Is it going to happen like that? No, it's not. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. It's going to take being intentional. But when you're intentional, you can do it. It is possible. You just need to be focused and know that you can make it happen. Put a plan in place. This is one of the budget. This is what we call the budget fact find. It's a spreadsheet that I have access to. I can email this to you if you want. Send me your email address. Send me an email, preferably, please. Or a text. I'll give you my details later, and I'll send you this budget fact find. Basically, what this does is it says, okay, how much are you earning on a weekly or monthly basis? And then let's say this one that says mobile phone. So let's say right now, monthly, you're spending £60 on your mobile phone. What this is saying is, could you reduce that? For me, if anybody is spending more than £30 on their mobile phone, you don't really need to. Okay, there's pay as you go, there's bi-monthly, there's SIM only. I've been using SIM only for years. I buy the phone itself, okay, and I put my SIM card in it. I've been doing that for years. I think not like I can't afford it. However, I've been paying, I think, about 15 quid for my mobile phone for so many years. I get unlimited data, I get unlimited calls. Well, not unlimited data, but 50 gig of data. But that's almost unlimited, to be honest. But who needs more than 50 gig? If they're selling you your mobile phone and they tell you you've got 50 gig, they're lying to you, because you've got Wi-Fi at home. You've got Wi-Fi in town. When you go to the library, there's Wi-Fi. Most of us do not need that much, but they're charging us for it. So what could you reduce your bill to, and then how much are you saving? Now, by the time you go down this spreadsheet, there'll be lots of different things that, let's look at this one that says buildings and content. A lot of people that pay buildings or content insurance, every year you receive a letter from the insurance company and they say, thank you for being with us for the last 12 months. We've increased your payment from £25 to £30. Yay! And guess what? We just accept it. Again, I sit down with families, they get a renewal letter, the price has gone up, and instead of them to go and shop around to either reduce that price or to keep it the same, they just continue to increase it every single year. So could you shop around? The company I kind of refer to people, they guarantee to beat any quote in the market. And that is because they shop around for you. So do you shop around? Do you look at different things like that for any of those insurances? Okay, and then write it here, reduced by, and then what you find is by the time you go down the list, you find yourself finding some fat in your budget. Okay, Jim Rohn again said, if you don't desire your own life, chances are that you will fall into someone else's plan. And guess how much they have planned for you? Not much. Okay, you've got to design your own life. It says up here, design a plan that fits you. If you don't design your life, you're falling into somebody else's plan. And I'm sorry to say, the only plan they have is for themselves. Somebody was saying to me the other day, they were using an example of, let's say I think they were talking about somebody who was working for this big organization, and they were devoted, they did a great job. But when it came to it, the director of that company, they didn't want to reduce their own lifestyle. So guess what they did? They got rid of that member of staff because they didn't want to have to take a cut on their pay. Now, they have a plan for themselves. Do you have a plan for yourself? That's what this is all about. Increasing your income or working on a different type of income or an additional income, looking at your expenses, having a budget so you can work on your personal finances. And we talk about building your financial house. When you're building a real house, the most important part of that house is the foundation. Okay? Any house, the scripture says, build your house on rock, not on sand. Okay? Build your house on rock. The foundation of any financial house is your income. And then on top of that is having the roof at the top. Okay? And then looking at other things, this first floor, the second floor, and the third floor. So the quiz I have for you is this, looking at the very first one, protecting your income. You don't have to put it in the chat box, but this is a question for you to answer. Do you personally have enough individual life insurance to replace your income in the event of a premature death? If something were to happen to you now, what lifestyle would your family have to endure? Okay? And then when you look at that, the other question is, do you have a will, a trust, and a power of attorney? Now, you don't have to answer in the chat box, but this is something for you to understand, for you to answer for your own good. Okay? Do you have an emergency fund? 3 to 6 months of your expenses in an emergency fund so that if anything happens to you, you don't need a credit card. You can pay for it and then just top it back up again. The other thing, do you have a plan for your credit cards, your loans, your store cards, your car finance? Do you know what your debt freedom date is? Based on the debts you have right now, do you know when you're going to be debt free? Yeah, very important to think about that. And then finally, how are you going to duplicate your salary in retirement? When you get to the point where you're no longer working, do you have a plan in place to say, right now, I'm earning £2,000. When I stop working at 65, I'm still going to be earning £2,000. If you have a job and you've got a pension in your job, my encouragement to you, when you go in on Monday, go to your HR and ask them, could you see your pension plan? Could you find out, please, when you're due to retire? And when you retire, how much will you get on a monthly basis? Do you know that? If you don't know it, it's really important to find out now instead of waiting another 10 years before finding out. Because if you know the answer now, you can put stuff in place. If they say to you, oh, when you retire at 65, we're going to be giving you £1,000 a month. Now, you know you need £1,500 a month. So you've now got to start thinking of, how can I generate £500 difference for when I stop working? Okay, but the question to you is this: do you currently have a written financial plan that addresses all these strategies in your financial house? Very important that we can put all these things in place for us on a personal level, not just for you, but to be able to, for if you have children, for them, for the future, because we want to leave a legacy. We want to be able to create generational wealth. Okay, so that's really the question here. And that's it from me, really. So, oh, I didn't change the topic. So next week, we're going to be looking at savings and insurance. Okay, we've looked at budgeting today. So session 4 on the poster says budgeting, savings, and insurance, but we've moved budgeting today because it goes closer with today. So next week, by God's grace, we're going to be looking at saving and insurance. And if you want my details, please feel free to take a picture of that. We've got this book called Your Journey to Financial Freedom. If you want a copy of that book, I can send you an electronic copy. If you want to buy it, you can go on Amazon and you can also buy a physical copy. I can offer you an electronic copy. But yeah, that's me, really. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to hand over to Gilda now to close us out. I think we finished a bit early.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sam. And I hope everyone felt like there was something today that they learned and that they could take away from what was being taught. Please, if you'd like that budget fact finder, please email Sam. We've got 2 email addresses you can reach him at. the one that was on the screen previously, and I popped one in the chat. So before we round things up, we'd like to give people the opportunity to unmute, ask questions, make comments. We have finished a bit earlier today, so we have a bit of time. So it would be nice to get some feedback. If there's any questions, if you feel like next week you might like for us to mention some things, then now is the opportunity to let us know. I guess that's a resounding, all information was clear, so nobody has any questions. That's absolutely fine. But thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope that you'll be able to make it again next week. We really do hope that you have learned something new, or you've been reminded of something, or you've been inspired to do something slightly differently or radically differently even. So thank you very much. We shall leave you with that for now. I believe Emmy, I'm not sure if she's on the road, but I think, yeah, there she is.
Yeah, thank you, Gilda and Sam. Honestly, this is an eye opener for all of us, and we look forward to having you guys next week. And to everyone who joined today, thank you for your time. We appreciate you.
Super. Thank you all so very much. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Take care all. God bless. Bye.
Thank you. Very welcome.